creating a report card is something easy as long as you have data. So if you don't have data, you'll have to first come up with data, maybe data about students, their gender, their date of birth, and their marks for various subjects. Usually you should have a grading scale, knowing how grading will be done, the distinctions, the A's. So for example, we are going to use this sample data to create a report card. We are having around 10 students with their information, their date of birth. You have mathematics, you have physics, chemistry, English, biology, economics. So in case you want to create a report card, the first thing, and which is very important, you should know the grading scale. So the grading scale we have used that above 80 marks is a distinction 1, above 70 to 80 D2, C3, then F. Then also the A, B, and C and F have been used to grade the average mark. So the average mark has been used for grading whether A, B, C, and F, depending on where the average mark is lying. So what you start with when you're creating a report card, you want to use an automated system. The first thing, these marks should have their grades. Like 55, which grade is it? 45, 56, usually the students or even the parents are interested in those grades. So I'm going to create extra rows for inputting. So I'm going to grade these marks. I'm going to use functions for putting the distinctions, the credits, the failures. I'm going to start with equals to input a formula. So the easiest formula I can use is if, where equals if. Then in this case, what are we grading? We are grading mathematics, meaning we are grading cell E2, D2. So if D2 is greater than what? So we start with the first logical test, that if D2 is greater than 80, that is for D1. If it is greater than 80, into open quotes, D1, comma. When you go to if, another if, that if it is greater, so for every grading, you give it its own function. If, but under the same, okay, it is the same function, but each with its segment. If the same cell, if cell D2 is greater than 70, comma, into open quotes, D2. Go to the next if, that is for C3. If the cell D2 is greater than 50, that will be into open quotes as C3. Then lastly, if that same cell, open bracket, if cell D2, if D2 is less than 50, comma, into quotes, that is an F. Then I'm going to close quotes for all of them. You see that every bracket I add has a different color. You have to close the brackets for all these until you reach the last one, which is black in color. Then you press enter. You have seen that for 55 is greater than 50, which has given me a C3. So for the rest of these ones in the rows, I'll just drag horizontally up to the point. I want for all of them up to civics. Then it will give you the grading, as simple as that. So we are using if, then for every grade, for D1 you give it its own segment, then comma, if you go to D2, then C3, then F, then you close the brackets. You know that the comments should be in open quotes, double quotes. Then after doing this, I can do it for all the rest. So I'm going to create and insert here a new row. Then I'm just going to copy. I'm going to come to C3, copy, and I paste here. It will give me the one for this, for Suresh. Then I drag. So it is something automated. Then to get the average mark, I'm going to insert here a new column. And I'm going to title it as average. So for average, I'm going to use a function that equals to average. They're already in build. So I'm going to find the average of all these from mathematics up to civics. Then after I close, I press enter. So here it is giving these errors division by zeros, and I'm going to ignore this part since here in this row that the rows added, we are concentrating on the grading. So after calculating all this, then you do it for all the rest. You go on copying and pasting, inserting and inserting new rows until you get something like that. So I've added gradings for every subject, for every person. The grading for every person, there are distinctions. Then lastly, there are grades at this end. Still the same thing as we did for adding distinctions. Still the same thing we are using if. Now in this case we are using averages. So I'm going to get if this average is greater than 80 and A. If it is greater than 70 and B. So I just replacing where there is D1, D2 represent with A, B and C to get the grades. Let's say it is something easy. Then now back to the main point. So after you have generated this, making a report card is something very easy. Usually on this main sheet where you have everything, you include everything you need to put on a report card. You insert a heading at end of term 3, student's report card, you insert student's name, class teacher, signature, comments at the bottom. So when you're printing report cards, you filter out a person of your interest. So for example, if I want to, I'm going to come to column 1, the drop down menu. I'm going to select Farah. I'm going to print the report card for Farah. So it will filter out only Farah and give you results for Farah. Then we are going to print that Ctrl P. You see the preview. The preview will only give you the results for Farah. So everything, you just make sure that you include everything you need on the report card on that sheet. So after filtering out any other things you need, maybe you wanted to print it with the badge of the school, anything else, you can add it direct on this sheet, such that after filtering out they will remain here. Then you should not worry about the grid. When you have after printing the grid, these lines will not come with the report card. So still you can do it for anyone else. Maybe I want a report card for Jessica. It will filter out results for Jessica. You come here, you edit and edit the name that this is Jessica. Then after that you go and you print. It will give you results for just Jessica. So just like that, creating a report card is very easy. Thanks for watching.